Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Say More podcast. I'm Sarah Ozycz, your host. Really happy to be here. Today, we have a very special guest, Mr. Jeffrey Roy. Welcome.
Hey.
Really happy to have you here today. And we're going to be talking about your journey with mental health, relationship with substances, and what your life looks like now.
Okay.
And really what I wanted to do today is kind of set the stage a bit for our listeners. So, why are we talking about this topic here? First of all, really a pillar of my podcast is to destigmatize behavioral health. And that, for me, that means reducing stigma and shame around mental health, substance use. And we can't do that without talking about it. And we can't talk about it without feeling comfortable. So there's kind of a couple of steps that we need to take to kind of get to that point. And that's why I'm so happy to have you here and share your story.
Thank you.
Yeah. What I will first kind of ask you to do is tell the listeners a little bit about yourself and introduce yourself to them.
All right. So again, Sarah, thank you for having me on this podcast. When you told me about your project and what you were doing, I immediately knew that I wanted to help and contribute. I think that mental health is a big issue in the world, just in general.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a big problem is that people don't open up, they don't talk, they don't, they just let all their feelings build up inside. And then just one day they burst,
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I'll tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Jeff Roy. I'm from Connecticut, and I'm a former drug addict and alcoholic. I suffered with serious depression, and today I'm over 14 years sober from opiate narcotics, and I am closing in on my 12th year of sobriety with alcohol.
That's so amazing. Every time I hear that, I kind of get like goosebumps because it's such a real example of like what it means to live in recovery and have long-term sobriety. It's so amazing to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It always makes me smile knowing, like another day sober, like the hardest part of being sober, I think, is the first year, maybe 2 years. It's like you got to cut ties with the people that used to hang out with, and it's a tough like transition, and alcohol being so socially acceptable, like,
Yes.
it's everywhere: weddings, bars, restaurants. It's so hard. And I just feel as time goes on, after like the first, maybe second year, it kind of changes, and it actually gets easier and easier as it progresses. And then you start seeing like the time that you have underneath your belt. It's like, yeah, it's another year. And it's like, it's exciting, And like,
I would also wonder too if it's like motivational for you, right? To kind of see like either the number of days or the number of years. It's like, oh, that for me feels like I have a motivation to continue.
why would I want to ruin it? Like, why would I want to ruin it? One bad day and get rid of, how far I've come, and then risk it to be continuing to be an addict and addicted to this stuff. Like, I know what's going to happen when I pick up that drink, I'll tell myself, oh, I'll just have one beer. Yeah, right. It's not going to be one beer, oh, I'm thirsty. I'm going to get another one. Next day, I'll be going to the package store. Like, I know myself. So why am I going to put myself in a position that's risky that I know what the outcome is going to be? It's like, no,
Yeah. Yeah, that was something too when I was working with clients directly. And I used to see quite a bit in terms of like substance use, polysubstance use, multiple substances at once. Really what was a challenge first is having the insight of knowing that my relationship with substances is problematic.
Mm-hmm.
So identifying that first is like truly the first step. And then knowing if I start, I can't stop. That's, the part of my brain that, is the addiction. It's if I start, I cannot stop. So, you're saying that, and that resonates a lot with many of the stories that I've heard, with my clients as well.
Yeah, I got an addictive personality and it's never going to change. Like I've learned that, I can always try to do what I can to not pick up the drink, not, go use drugs. And again, like you were saying, I think a lot of it is having that time underneath my belt of sobriety that keeps me motivated, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, um, and then I guess I'll touch base a little bit really quick about
Yeah.
my early teen years and how
Mhm.
I developed a drug addiction. Um, yeah, I mean, in my early teens, I was big into partying, drinking. I was smoking a lot of marijuana. Um, we started coming around the time when pain pills were becoming very popular, easy to get. It was like, it was like candy at school. The kids were always giving them out. It's easy. And I started taking them, popping them. I learned that you could actually snort them. It would give you a different high.
Mhm.
Um, I started crushing up these pills, snorting them, and 2 years later of doing it every day, it like hit me. I'm like, I'm addicted. I'm
Mm.
addicted. Like I can't go one day without doing this shit and not feeling sick. Like there
Mhm.
is an issue. So like it would become harder and harder for me to look in the mirror. But in the back of my mind, I'm like telling myself it's just pharmaceuticals. Like no, this it's fine. They're giving it to us. Like it's not like it's heroin or anything, right?
Mhm.
But then they start realizing like, hey, these pills that we're giving to people, they're becoming addicted to opiates. Like, all these studies started coming out. So then, just like that, the pills started becoming harder and harder to get a hold of.
Mhm.
Started being sick all the time. And then, hey, I'd find somebody that had a few pills, crush them up, snort them, feel fine for a day or two. Then it's back to feeling like shit.
Mhm.
So I started, looking like everywhere, calling up old friends, and um, I bumped into an old friend of mine. I don't even know if it's good to say friend, but I guess somebody I knew.
Mhm.
And I asked him, I was like, "Man, can you get any pain pills, any Percocets, anything?" And he's told me, he's like, "No, I can't, but I can get you H, and it's a lot cheaper, and you're not going to feel sick." And I didn't think twice about it. It's like, dude, like I'm sick right now. Like I need help. And then from there, I just started sniffing heroin. And it, from the moment I started sniffing, just any of, not even the heroin, like even the pain pills, I was screwed. I was screwed. This isn't a one time thing. No, with my addiction, like my addictive personality,
Mhm.
I was screwed. I should have never done that. I just wish we knew better, I just again, they were feeding it to everybody and again, it's coming from pharmaceuticals and stuff. It's like
Yeah.
it was one of the most popular drugs that students had in school. It was just always going around.
I'm wondering, Jeff, as you're talking to me about this, I'm wondering what kind of like messages or language or stories about like substance use did you hear either at home or at school? Because part of it is yes, is it available, but also is it allowable? Are people tolerating this? I'm kind of wondering, even from your doctor, right, or medical professionals, are they saying to you, hey, there could be some risk here, this might turn into a like potentially addictive substance? I'm kind of wondering what was going on at that time.
I think in the beginning, for example, I had surgery on my toe and they gave me Percocets. This was at a real young age. And I don't remember them ever telling me about it being like an addictive or any of that. I think once the studies started really coming out, I think that's really when the table started turning. Like the news started making people aware. People, like students, parents were looking in their cabinets, making sure that they didn't have any more of the pain pills that they were once prescribed. Like a lot really changed. You know, it was just like a flip of a switch. And
Yeah.
I just think, you know, my biggest message is I'm not saying that pain pills are extremely bad and all that. No, I'm saying that they come handy for the people that need it. You know what I mean? It's when you're misusing them, when you don't need them, when you're snorting them, when you're trying to put it in a needle, whatever you're trying to do with it, you know, that's when it's a problem. And I just, you know, I just hope that people become aware of this
Mhm.
because honestly, when I was young, I was dumb. I wasn't aware of any of this, you know.
Yeah.
And I look back now and I see the studies, the stuff that has come out, and it's like, damn, you know.
Yeah. But one of the questions that I had for you too, as you were talking, is, at home, right? So, like, did anybody know what was going on for you? Parents, siblings? I mean, was this something that you were
My sister
concealing?
was the only one to know. I hid it from my parents, but
Yeah. And
my sister didn't know about the heroin.
okay.
So
Yeah.
everything fell.
So you were pretty isolated in your use, which I think for many people can help continue their
Right.
use because they can kind of hide it. They can maybe,
Comfortable. They're just in a comfortable area that they can hide it. They not hanging around with a bunch of people.
yeah, it's a lot to kind of think about in terms of like how someone gets to that point. It's not just kind of an overnight. It doesn't happen with one particular thing. This is kind of a buildup of events, decisions, behaviors um, that kind of get you to that point. So one of the things that I think is going to be really important too is, um, because this podcast is focused on reducing stigma around behavioral health, I'd love to ask you what mental health means to you. And I think too, what's important because part of the message here is, yes, we're talking about behavioral health and mental health, but also we're trying to reduce the shame around it. And I think particularly in men, there is quite a bit of shame, a feeling of weakness or vulnerability when,
You just hit it right on the nail. Especially with men, it's weakness, right? They don't want to look weak. You know, we're all humans. We're all gonna make mistakes. You know, like we all have emotions. Like we all got to open up. Like, there's no such thing as being weak. Like, people go through traumas daily, you know, like where they just bottle it up. Like, they're not opening up about it. And it's like, that's going to impact you. Like, you not talking about it, you might think, oh, yeah, well, I'm not going to say anything. I'll be fine. You know, I'm not weak. Well, you know what? In the end, you know what? You're going to self destruct. And I always feel like that is a huge problem is people aren't opening up. People don't want to see therapists. People don't, you know, and it all boils down to them either looking crazy, feeling weak, and it's not. There's nothing bad about it. Like, Sarah, I know like when I go to your house and I hang out with you and your husband, like we get into these talks
we
and
do.
they're like they're so therapeutic to the point though where it's like after I had the talk with you or even with Kyle or both of you guys,
Mhm.
you know, it's like it's relieving. It's like,
Yeah.
wow, you know, it's like that's a huge weight off my shoulders. And people don't really get it. Like you know what I mean? It's you're not going to you how do I say this? Like if you don't ever try it, you're never gonna know. You know what I mean? Like if you never
Mhm.
try opening up and talking to somebody, you're never gonna know how it feels. You know, instead you're gonna just keep it bottled up.
Yeah, there's this saying, and I'm sure you are familiar with it, but our secrets keep us sick.
Hmm.
And that's, a large phrase used in the recovery space and people who are working on sobriety, where it's kind of really challenging that exact message of, keeping it to yourself, internalizing it, don't talk about it, suffer, white knuckle it, right? I mean, there's a lot of phrases people use. Um, but right, secrets keep us sick. And so the more that we don't share and talk about it, I think the worse that our mental state might become.
Well, for example, right, the first step to sobriety is what?
Well, admitting that you have a problem.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Admitting, right?
Yeah.
It goes the same way for like therapy, right? And whether like you're really emotional or you have something going on inside, it's
Mhm.
like it's the same thing. You gotta open up,
Mhm.
it like, hey, something's wrong, you know? And again, people view it as a weakness, and it's really not. It doesn't make you crazy. Everybody goes through it. Everybody who goes through something in their life where
Yes.
it's like, you know what, this is a lot. Like, I need to talk to somebody.
Yeah, I mean, we're all, as you said, we're all human. We all are going to experience, on a scale, right, of intensity of traumas in our life, and how we respond to that is really, really important and really vital. And if we don't have supports, even one person that we can talk to, I think that it makes it quite a bit harder to heal.
Exactly.
Yeah. Do you mind kind of sharing a little bit about how your substance use when you were using was kind of impacting your mental health?
Yeah. So, as I was using it again, it started off as just fun and games, getting high, drinking, partying, and then it became more and more reliant. And I noticed, as I didn't have the drugs or I wasn't drinking, that I just was starting to be a cranky, not feeling good. Just there's so many symptoms that were showing that, it's like I didn't even really want to be around myself. I didn't want to be around myself while I was using the drugs and while I was like sober trying to get the drugs. You know what I mean? It's like um, but really, all I cared about was getting high. That was the bottom line. I didn't want to go through the withdrawals. I didn't care about how I was getting high. I just wanted to get high. I didn't care about friendships I destroyed. I was just a scumbag. That's the only way I could view it. And, you know, for me, it's in the morning, first thing I like to do, I like to brush my teeth, look at myself in the mirror, you know? And when I was going through that stage in my life, I couldn't look at that person in the mirror. I just couldn't. I couldn't do it. It's just, and from now, like with being sober and opening up, telling my story, like every morning I look in the mirror and I give that smile and I'm happy to see how far I've come. And you know what, there's still going to be battles. Life's going to always be that roller coaster. It's going to have its ups, going to have its downs, but I'm ready. Bring on whatever.
I love that. I love that you are in a position now where you are ready to take the next step, and even if you don't know what the next step is, you feel prepared to handle whatever comes your way. It sounds like from what I'm hearing. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. One of the questions too that I think is important for listeners to understand, and because everybody's journey is different, especially if we're talking about uh, substance use. For you, what was the point that you knew or you decided to make a change? Um, I'd love to kind of hear a little bit about your thought process around that time.
I think it was like the second year of doing heroin was when it really started hitting me. And I knew like every time because I was getting up every morning, going to see the drug dealer. I was just tired of it. It's like I'm tired of the same routine. I'm tired of throwing up. I'm tired of my bones feeling like this. And it it was just getting to the point where it was spiraling out of control. I was on probation at the time, and I was hiding it from my probation officer because I wasn't getting piss tested or anything. And eventually, a neighbor called the cops on me because they knew that there was a lot of drug activity coming in and out of the house. And from there, probation came. They gave me a random drug test. 2 days later, they came back and they came back with a warrant, and I got arrested. Um, I ended up staying in jail for, it was like 7 days before. Well, no, I'm sorry. I had my arraignment. It was like the next day, and then it was like 7 days later. I went back to court. Um, they were going to reinstate my probation, which was like, I think it was 4 years, and put me into rehab. I haven't shared this, but I've been in rehabs in and out of my life like a lot. Um,
Mm,
I knew that how I was feeling in that courtroom, that if they were going to put me in that rehab, I was going to run. Like I knew, and I'm not trying to sound cool. I'm not trying. No, it's a God's honest truth. So I whispered to the lawyer. I said, I don't want, I'm not going to take that. I said, I would rather just take the full time and have no probation, no nothing after. I knew that doing this, like, it's going to keep me away from those scumbags that I was getting high with. It's going to keep me away from the drug dealers. Like, this is what I need. You give me that opportunity to walk free while I'm like withdrawing. Like, are you crazy? Like, you ain't going to see me. I'm gone, you know? So
yeah.
they, they ended up, going on a recess. They talked it over, and they offered me 18 months. And sure enough, I just took it. So I took the 18 months, but after spending, the time there, I was completely scot free, no probation, no nothing.
Mhm. So that really, it sounds like that was a very pivotal point for you in your use of substances that really kind of forced the issue of, okay, I've got kind of two avenues, right? Like one, I could continue what I'm doing and I might die,
Right,
or I can take this unknown, which is scary, right? Like going to prison, to jail,
right.
but maybe I'll come out of it in terms of like what I'm hoping for is to kind of to be sober, right? I mean, it sounds like that's kind of what you were kind of wrestling with at the
Yeah.
time.
So like there's moments in your life, right? And I feel this goes for everybody, right? Where you really want something, right? And you feel it in your heart. It's like grasping onto your heart, like, yeah, I want this. I knew I wanted sobriety then. That's why I didn't take the rehab. Like I knew I was just gonna stumble myself into more trouble, it's like, mm-mm. So taking the time, honestly, it was the best decision of my life. And I'm not saying that rehabs don't work, that NA, AA, I'm not saying that stuff doesn't work. For me, it just didn't work. It wasn't a fit. I
Yeah.
tried all the steps and it never worked. The only option for me, I felt, was the jail time. And
Yeah. You bring up a really great point, Jeff. I wanted to kind of highlight this for our listeners is that especially in recovery is not one size fits all. Everybody's journey to honestly with substance use but also into sobriety is different, and what works for someone may not work for somebody else, and it doesn't mean that that's any less effective. It's just what's best for you.
I mean, we can touch base about how I came out if you want, and then I can
Yeah.
talk about how I was drinking because I thought drinking was.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So I uh, came out of prison after 18 months. Um, of course, first thing I wanted to do was drink. It's legal. Hey, it's legal. You can go to bars. I'm over 21. I'm not on probation. Everything's fine, right? Here we go again. So, started drinking, and it was just like a little, coming home party. And then from there, started being every day. Um, that week, I got out. It was April. It's like the second week of April. No, first week of April. And My father and my stepmom were going up to Boston. My dad was running the marathon. Some of his friends were, and me being fresh out of prison, my dad thought it would be good for me to go up to Boston and just get away from it all. So we went, and it was like I just remember it was like a beautiful morning. My stepmom got us tickets to the Red Sox game. I believe they were playing the Blue Jays, and yeah, we started seeing on the board at Fenway that the elites were coming in from the marathon, and we decided, hey, now's the time we should probably go and see my dad come in. So as we were going towards the finish line, um, we heard like a really loud boom. Um, the only way I can describe it was like a garbage truck lifting up a full dumpster and losing hydraulics and just smashing down. Like you could even feel it on the pavement. And then 10 seconds after the first boom, maybe 5 seconds, we heard another boom. It started chaos immediately. People were running. You had people yelling that there was car bombs going off. Um, it- just so much stuff was happening. Total chaos. You couldn't use your phone. Like they turned off the cell phone towers, so you couldn't get in touch with anybody. We didn't know where my father was. You saw people with blood. You didn't know if it was their blood or it was just so much to see, right? So this is like the first week I'm out. You have SWAT flying all around. You have armored trucks everywhere. You have just people with all these like assault rifles. And I'm so confused because it's like, damn, I just spent 18 months in the devil's playground and now I'm out and this is what's happening. Like, is this real? It's, it was like, it was a horrific event. It's like the total opposite of what I wanted to see from being released. Like I wanted to see like I should have been on a beach where relaxing or something.
Yes.
It's like having this type of chaos. It was just like surreal. Like we ended up trying to go back to find my dad, and eventually we were able to find him. And we went to like the hotel, and sure enough, like the hotel wouldn't let us in, and they
Mm.
wouldn't give us our car because they didn't know where the bombers were, right? So now you have like highways shut down, just complete chaos. And there was something just about that day, like that really, like I don't know, my heart just never left Boston. Like I felt it to the point where it's like, one day I'm going to come back and I want to run this marathon. And it's really where my running like started to develop. Like my father has always been a runner. As a kid, I ran maybe like a few 5Ks, but I was never like serious into it. And I remember like the next day, I think it was, I went out for a run once we finally got home after all the chaos. And I remember I ran 1 mile, and it was a very slow mile. But you know what, Sarah? I was happy. I ran that mile completely. I didn't stop walking.
Hmm.
And now I kept telling myself, I'm like, now if I can only do this for 25.6 miles more, or whatever.
Yes.
And I just kind of kept working at it. And eventually, like the drinking, and I realized I had a serious issue. And there was family members coming up to me like, dude, you're going back to jail. Like you're
Mm.
driving drunk, you're passed out behind the wheel. Like what the hell are you doing? You know? And it just clicked to me one day. And it's like, you know what? They're right. I'm gonna be back in jail. I'm going to do something stupid. I'm going to jump behind the wheel drunk. I'm probably going
Mhm.
to crash, hit somebody,
Mhm.
but my life's over when I'm blessed to have a second chance right now.
Mhm.
And it's just, it was that feeling, Sarah, that feeling in your heart, and I go back to, it's like, I want that sobriety.
Yeah.
I don't want to just be clean from opiates. I want to be clean from alcohol.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I found the will to stop. And that was something I did by myself. Nobody was like, you need to go to rehab. You need to do this. This was on me, you know.
Yeah.
But I will say it was the ones I was around, right? The ones that were supporting me that made it a wake up call because I didn't see it. I wasn't seeing it. I was drunk, man. But
Yeah.
the power of people being supportive to one another, being able to open up, give advice, vent, like y'all don't know how powerful that is, man. That's the best stuff.
That's so kind to say. I will say, as a licensed therapist, that particularly when I was working with people in direct care, you know, we didn't always get to see the outcome.
Hmm.
Uh, we didn't we didn't always get to hear our impact, and so just having you kind of acknowledge that is really nice. And it sounds like that was a huge support for you, having people around you that cared about you. That it sounds like met you with compassion out of their love for you and
Exactly.
saying, "Hey, I love you this much that I want to share this with you. That what you're doing may not be the best
Exactly.
um, for you." Yeah.
Exactly. And like I think that's one of the biggest keys for sobriety, mental health. It's the support system you got, right? Like I was told this from a guy years ago, and it still plays in my head. But he told me that the three people that you mostly hang around are the people that you are. You know what I mean? So you're basically, let's just say you're sober, right? But you're hanging out with two people that are continuously always using drugs and stuff. Yeah, you may be sober, but in that guy's eyes over there, he's not going to view you as that. He's going to view you as one of those people that are, you know. So, and it's not to say like, to kick somebody while they're down because they're using or anything. No, it's, you kind of want to separate each other from people who are using, right? And you want to put them in these groups where they're supportive. They're around people that aren't using, that are giving good advice, like teaching you how to live again. Like that's how I felt. Like when I came clean, it's like I felt like I had to learn all over again how to relive my life. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that was something, even while I was facilitating groups and just doing kind of individual counseling. I mean, this was sometimes people's really first opportunity to live and feel without being under the influence of something. And, but also learning how to have fun
Right.
in recovery. I mean, that was like, we really, really focused on how do we teach skills to support this person to live um, without substances. A completely new experience for many people.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
I feel like my biggest like secret, I guess we can say, with being able to stay sober for so long is I'm constantly rewarding myself. Like, you know, I've been this long. I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Like, it's a battle. The ones that are going through this, I feel for you, man. And I think that when we come across these days where times are hard, maybe a family member died, or maybe your dog died, or maybe it's not even a death, or you're just having a bad day at work, and you want to go to the bar or you want to use, this is the final straw. It's like if we take that time to just stop, think it over for a few minutes, just a few minutes, like, hey, is this really what I want to do? I have all this time underneath my belt, like for being sober, I could ruin it right now. for me, my thing is I'm always rewarding myself. So when I find myself in this rut and I'm like battling, it's like, oh no, man, I'm gonna go get me, I'll go buy me a new pair of running shoes, or I'll go get me fishing equipment, like just something to get it off my mind. And
Yeah.
it's to reward myself because I didn't pick up. And it's a beautiful thing. I'm not saying you do this every day, like, no,
Yeah.
but it's the times when you're at your last straw. And being an addict, you're gonna come across it. You're going to. It's like there's just times it's like you feel like your head's gonna explode, you know? And my best advice is, you know, reward yourself. Just stop, think, like, hey, okay, I've been sober this long. I'm doing good. This is just a bad day.
Hmm.
Maybe I'll get the new iPhone. Or whatever. Maybe it doesn't even have to be expensive. It could be like, oh, I'm gonna go get myself an ice cream.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
the thing is though that you need to reward yourself, and that's a problem where I think a lot of addicts fail is that
Mm.
they're not rewarding themselves, and it's just why stay sober. That's
Hmm. Yeah, and I think as I'm hearing you talk about it too, I'm just kind of hearing that it's also like being kind to yourself,
exactly.
because as you talked about earlier in your life when you were really kind of very serious with your substance use and you didn't even want to look at yourself in the mirror. And it sounds like there was a lot of shame with that. And now you are in recovery, in long term recovery at that. And one of the ways that you show kindness to yourself is to reward yourself, right? And that's really beautiful to hear.
Yeah.
So actually, I'd love to ask you what your life in recovery looks like now.
Well, first off, I gotta say, like, the word recovery is such a beautiful word. I feel like I'm always like smiling anytime I say it. It's like it's a beautiful thing to really to experience after you've been down for so long. And so for me, like, to want to put up a battle to improve your well-being is the start that shows how like the start of how strong somebody's character is, right? So like if you find somebody that's like, you know what, I'm tired of this shit. I don't want to use it anymore. I'm ready to put my foot down today, that right there is the first step showing, damn, you know what? This guy's ready. This guy's ready to do this. He's tired of this. And I think a lot of people are kind of scared to take that step, right? It's like, okay, so if I do this, who, I go to rehab or wherever, it's like, who's going to help pay the bills? Who's, like, there's a lot of stuff, but it's also like, yeah, well, you're also using that money to buy drugs. You know what I mean? So it's like, you got to invest in yourself, right? Honestly, like, I feel that you really find yourself when you're sober. It's like how I told you, it's like learning to relive again, right? It's at first, yeah, it is kind of scary, right? Like you don't really know, but as time progresses and like you learn to live life without the drugs, without the substances, without the alcohol, like it's beautiful. It's just beautiful, um my biggest outlet for me for staying sober is running. I love distance running. There's just something about it for me that there's like a spiritual connection. Um, when I have bad days, or it doesn't even have to be a bad day, but I find that when I put on my running shoes, I hit the pavement and I just go. It's like a tunnel vision, you know. Um, I I get like again like a spiritual connection, and it just feels like all my problems, just everything that's going on in my life, it's just like it's all cleared. It's like it's such a beautiful feeling after, and it's it's I don't really know how to explain it, but I think that us being humans and having endorphins, that's a powerful tool if we get those things active. Like whether you go for a walk or you lift weights, go for a run or something, like, do you know the power of the endorphins and how good you're going to feel after? Like
Yeah.
you can be having like a really bad day and then you go lift some weights or do whatever you do for your activity, you're a whole different person, a whole
Hmm.
different person. And that's where I think that, like people should recognize that I don't know how to really say it, but it's there's ways to get stuff off your mind, I guess.
Yes. Yes. And
And
that doesn't have to be substance use.
right, right. So
Yeah. I mean, I would do this all the time in therapy where, I'd be working with clients, and I mean, it was really just direct. Like, there are other ways to manage your feelings other than, using or
exactly,
cutting, or, your head is in a toilet throwing up. Like, there are other avenues for
exactly,
you. And sometimes people don't even realize that that is even possible,
exactly.
right?
It's yeah, you hit it on the nail.
Hmm. And for you, you found your outlet in running.
Right.
So talk to me a little bit about some of the goals that you have for your running.
So it's funny. My running all started with again just going out for a mile and then realizing I could run a mile, and then started doing local 5Ks, 10Ks. I worked up to the half marathon, then did like 5 marathons. And then in November, I ran my 50-mile race in Vienna, Illinois in 8 hours and 14 minutes. So it's been very addicting for me, as you can see, going back to the addictive
Yeah.
personality. It's I always love challenging myself. I've noticed that. It's something that I like to do, and especially with running, I always set these goals, and it's like, okay, I want to do this, I want to do this, and I just kind of keep picking at it. I might
Mhm.
be really far behind on some of my goals with running, but I'm still picking at it. You know what I mean? And it's just something about it that has really clicked, and I feel that if I never really found running, I don't think I ever would have found sobriety. It's just for me, those are the two things that worked. A lot of people always joke because I like to run distance, like, hey, what are you running from? Your problems. And reality is, yeah, I am running from my problems because, I have a lot that I've been through, and we're all human. But when I just start running and I start thinking about everything that's gone wrong, again, it's just like it's a whole different like feeling after. It's like I feel so good after that long run.
Yeah.
Yeah,
One thing that you just said, I wanted to make a comment on. You said, when you're running, or people like you joking, like, yeah, I run from my problems. But also, are you running towards the life that you want?
exactly. Right. That's a good way to look at it.
And a little reframe there. But I mean, it's also true. Yes, you can be running from a life that you previously had, but running towards something that you want, and running towards the person that you want to become,
I like
right?
the way that you put that. That's a really good way to view it, Sarah.
Yeah. That's how it landed for me when you were talking about it. I was like, oh, I think Jeff is really becoming the person that he's meant to be, and running is his way to do that. That's incredible. Yeah. And you're gearing up to run 100 miler?
Yep, I'll be going back to Tunnel Hill to run the 100-miler. Realistically, I'd like to do it under 24 hours, but then I start like really thinking about it, and it's like, well, maybe I want to do it under 20 hours. So, well,
Yeah.
or hopefully hopefully I make it through. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's my big goal for the year is to complete the 100
Yeah.
miler.
And I think having goals for yourself is also really important for your like mental well-being, right? Because you're looking forward to something, you're working at it, even if it's not perfect, maybe you had a bad run, you're still working at it, you're still trying. And I will say, not every person even gets to that stage,
Hmm.
right? Some people don't make it out of substance use.
Right.
You did, and look at the example that you're creating for others by by doing this. It's really inspirational.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Sarah. Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
No, it's I one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the podcast. Um, I'm wondering if there are any kind of myths or stereotypes of people who use substances, or people who might struggle with mental health that you would like to challenge today.
Well, I will say, if you ever were an addict, ever abused drugs, alcohol, just any of that, if you think that just going back to drinking because it's legal is fine, you know, it's not. I believe, honestly, like, I believe drinking is a gateway drug. It's only a matter of time before you start going drinking daily, picking up the cycle, right? Like you said, doesn't happen overnight, right? Builds up, builds up. And I've seen it with so many people that are recovering, right, from the hard
Mhm.
drugs and stuff, but then they're turning to alcohol, and literally I'm seeing them every day. They're drinking, you know,
Yeah.
they,
Yeah. I mean, it's this concept. We talk a lot about this in treatment too, and in therapy is substitution.
right.
So it could go both ways though, right? I mean, it could be a positive, healthy substitution or a not so positive. Yeah.
Exactly. And but that's just my thing, is that for me, and everybody's different, right? But for me, the biggest battle has been alcohol.
Hmm.
And it, again, it's so socially acceptable. It's everywhere where we go. All my friends do it, family does it. And I I just think that for the people that have struggled, or battled with addiction, that you don't want that problem. You just don't. Like, if you're sober right now, dude, stay sober. Keep loving yourself, because when you start picking up that bottle, yeah, it's not going to happen overnight, but it will come, and you're going to get very dependent on it. And it's going to keep progressing to the point where it's like, dude, you can't live your life like that. You need a change. And I hope that people, really, like, think about that, because for me, again, when I came out of prison, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna start drinking again, like, it's all good. Let's go to the bar. Like, no, man. No, it's not good.
I appreciate you saying that. I think to really trying to understand and educate ourselves, right? That this could happen to anybody. This isn't like people woke up and decided, I am going to be severely depressed and use substances and be an addict, right? I mean, no one has that as a goal in life. It can happen to anybody at any time. And remembering that we are all humans and to show compassion to each other and ourselves.
It's so true. It can happen to anybody, any family member, anybody, anytime. And
Yeah.
that's where I think too, like, we can't really view them like as a lesser human being when they're battling like this, you know? These are the times
Yeah,
when
absolutely.
people need help. Like, this is when we got to help them. But
Yeah.
the thing is, right, Sarah, that they got to want to help themselves too, right?
Yes.
You can't just want to help somebody that doesn't want to be helped. Then you're wasting your time, and you're wasting, it's just wasting everybody's time. But when you find those ones that are struggling, that, again, it's in your heart, you see that they want that sobriety, you got to help them. You got to, they need that support.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's addiction is a very isolative disease. Very similar with depression too. Isolation breeds depression. I mean, we as a society are really not meant to exist in this kind of individualized culture. We need people, we need support, we need connection. And that's really, for a lot of people, can really be the piece that they need to
Exactly.
make that change. Yeah. Yeah. How are you feeling at this point, Jeff? You doing okay?
I'll be honest. I'm gonna be honest with you, Sarah. I feel like I got a lot of stuff off my shoulders.
I'm so glad. That makes me so happy. I mean, truly.
Session right now. That's what it feels like.
Yes.
It does.
Yes.
And
I'm
I
so
can
glad that you
tell
said
you
that.
that my day is going to be very positive. after this, I can tell.
Yes, I'm so glad to hear it. Yeah, no, it's I I'm just so grateful that you decided to be on my podcast
I'm
and
so grateful that you're doing this. Again, the moment I found out you were doing this project and everything,
yeah.
it's like, yeah, anything I can do to be on board. It's a big problem that we have, is mental health, substance
Mhm.
abuse, like, and for you to put yourself out there, to be doing these podcasts, to be reaching out, like, dude, that just shows how good of a person you are. Like,
Thank you, Jeff.
to help, and we
Yeah.
need more of that. So it's just, I really appreciate what you do, Sarah.
That is so that's so kind. Yeah, I think you definitely hit a couple things there where it feels really scary to put yourself out there online, but I know for this podcast that the goal and the mission is greater than my fear. Um, if we help one person, then that's enough.
Right.
Um, and my podcast doesn't exist without people like you and people like you that are willing to share, perhaps difficult topics and conversations. That's how we break down the stigma because we see people that are just like us and we can understand and connect and say, oh, they're doing the same thing that I was doing or that I am doing that I want to get out of,
Mhm.
and look at their success. So that's super important. Yeah. My only other question is like what you hope listeners will walk away from, from today's conversation. Would love to kind of hear your thoughts.
Um, so I guess what I would hope that the listeners walk away from out of this is, we all make mistakes in life. People get caught up in situations that aren't so forgiving. If you have someone in your family, maybe a friend, and they're struggling, talk to them, man. Talk to them. See what they need to better their situation. The power of like talking or venting to somebody is some of the best therapy on earth. And you never really know what somebody's going through. Um, and again, like, we're all humans. Just be caring, supportive, be there for them. But it has to go both ways. Like, if the person that's struggling, right, they want the help and you're helping them, then great. But if they don't want the help, sometimes the best love is the hard love. Maybe stop talking to them or whatever. Just try to put a little intense on them to the point where it's like, damn, my family's not even talking to me. Like,
Yeah.
it's not that you don't love them, it's that you're just showing them that you can't be around it. And I think that for the people that don't want to stop, but have like the family and stuff, I think that that might be a good way for, maybe it's somebody's son, daughter, or
Mhm.
maybe that's the way that you approach it. Stop fueling their addiction, stop giving them money. Like, you got to start putting your foot down. Like,
Mhm.
Sarah, I lost way too many friends from heroin, from alcohol, from pain pills. And it's just like seeing all these people drop. Just one day they're gone. And it's like, damn, 30 years old, 25 years old. Like,
Yeah.
they're just so young. And you always think, oh, it's never going to happen to me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then one day it does happen to you and it's too late.
Yeah.
Over, right? So I just I just feel that, again, talking, there's a lot of power behind. So if you see somebody struggling, that they want the help, try to be there. Just try to give some type of support, just see what they need. I'm not telling you hold their hand and be like, all right, we're going to do this. We're going to, no, but give them some type of guidance to help them, you know? A lot of these people too, like, homeless is on the rise. And
Yeah.
where do these people go? Like, what do they have for support? And
Mhm.
not every homeless person is doing drugs, but I'm sure a majority of them are. It's like, it. we just got to do better, as everybody, and when we see these issues and the stuff going on, like, ask if they need help, like, hey, do you need something? Like, I,
Yeah, I think you make a really good point, Jeff, where, I think we need to be very careful not to be numb
mhm,
to what is happening to, with other people, or like separating ourselves so much from that, what's happening over there. I think we need to humanize what's happening for other people, and again, like as you're saying, show empathy, show compassion, even if it's loving them from a distance.
right. Some
Um,
tough love is the best love that you can give,
mhm.
till a person changes, and
Yeah.
maybe that's the thing that makes them change.
Yeah, I mean, and again, it's up to them. As you said, it's
Hmm.
you can support and love them until it starts to impact, your own mental well-being and stability. So, there needs to be kind of some nuance there. But um, again, yeah, it's important to really figure out how I can support this person in a way that works for them.
Right. Like a healthy way. Right.
Hmm. Yeah. All right, Jeff, are you on any social media? People want to look you up,
So
hear more about your story. Where can people find you?
So I'm on Instagram, and my Instagram is run underscore the underscore marathon. Yeah, you can follow me on there. See my journey with running the 100 miles in November and continuing my journey of sobriety. It's a beautiful thing.
It's truly been such an honor for me to watch you grow and evolve. I mean, we've known each other. You were there the night I met my husband, like 16 years ago. That's a long time.
I know.
But it's been really such a blessing to get to watch your growth over those years. And I'm just so excited for people to hear your story.
Thank you.
I do think it's going to help so many people.
Thank you so much. And again, thank you for doing what
Yeah.
you're doing, because I
Oh, of course.
a great thing. So.
Thank you.